we've talked so much about the European Invitational, you and I, Supersonic, and these two teams. They are playoff teams in that tournament series, and they join. When you look at that tournament, it's quite a field, right? You've got 3 rival series teams, including Triple Trouble and these two. You've got 2 teams that promoted last season. Veloce is another rival series alum, then Dignitas and Sandrock Gaming. But you look at how these 2 teams got there in particular. Notorious Legion, you mentioned, they went 3-0 in their group. The only loss for Espanyol was to, I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head, but they did beat Triple Trouble, and they did beat, I would forget this off the top of my head, they beat Reciprocity. That'll get you a lot of notoriety as they come into this match here. Now they're looking to add Notorious Legion to their list.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about how they're going through this. RCD Espanyol takes down Triple Trouble. Triple Trouble ended up topping that matchup still overall, or that group. And then we kind of saw them here today where they're still kind of having some issues, and I don't see that play translating over quite as well as RCD Espanyol and Notorious Legion. Shot there from Stake. Gonna get knocked away.
Yeah, safe to say that some of the RLCS teams, in particular Dignitas, they know who this Notorious Legion team is now after they came back and beat them in 5 games. It'll be Tox. Going one over here, Metane. Blocked by Jamway. Now Cash. We've talked about how much of a difference maker he is for Notorious Legion. Formerly Echo Zulu from a season ago. Mostly defense all throughout the 2019 calendar year, but it has been a new look team with Cash leading the way in scoring. Here's Taz trying to get on the board, but Shamway will make that stop. Taz does at least make sure he gets that midfield boost on his way back. Cash downfield, he will beat Stake, and it is in fact 1-0 to NLE.
The one thing that is super consistent here is the ball is getting past to Cash all season long. He is that finisher for this team. Taz and Metane just feed him that ball repeatedly, and that might be the secret that RCD is going to need to pay attention to. They need to start shutting Cash down. If you let him have cherry picks like that, he's going to put the ball in the net every time.
So Cash strikes first off the feed from Metane. What does Espanyol have for an answer? We've talked about how they're going to get every team's best shot. They certainly got Vertex's best shot. That is not their best shot defending. Taz with a selfless play trying to find Cash. That does not work out, and you have to feel like Notorious Legion might have let a great opportunity slide by there. They had the defense of Espanyol all out of sorts.
Yeah, the crazy thing for me on this Notorious Legion team is that that Taz and Metane are feeding to Cash, and he's the guy scoring all the goals, but he's also the one that's most present in the box and gets the most saves. Taz getting involved here, though, off a quick pass from Cash into the mid lane, and he's going to bang that one home.
Yeah, this is a great pass, and again, more selfless play from Notorious Legion, getting that infield pass. A lot of players, even at this level, a lot of players would have just taken that shot, and it would have resulted in an easy save. That's just great team effort from Notorious Legion, showing why they are indeed a contender and still very much in the race to auto-promote, taking that top spot in the rival series. It has been a bizarre season, and Espanyol try to stabilize things a little bit here as they give away possession to get at midfield. It is Metane wasting a little more time off the clock, starting off the second half of game number 1. Jamway runs out of boost. Stake is all the way over. He will not get there in time, but this will fall to Tox. So he's done enough. Looking for Jamway, but Jamway did turn off the ball right at the last moment, and a wise decision, as might have been behind him if he had not.
Nice control from Stake there as he takes the ball to the side. Takes the shot himself, though. We're not really seeing a ton of passing plays coming out from RCD Espanyol. They're not putting any real pressure on the defense of Notorious Legion. They're giving them easy looks at the ball, and they're getting easy clears out. They're going to need to get these plays going, and as I say it, passing play to Shamway. He's not going to be able to put it, send that one home, though.
Yeah, that's a great reflex save by Cash. Excellent read as he's playing He's not playing the ball there. He's playing the defender. He's watching him the whole way. Saw that Shamway took that wide turn out and realized there's going to be a booming shot coming in. He guessed right. That's excellent defense. One of the reasons Notorious Legion, one of the better defensive teams in this league, right there with Espanyol. Taz gets knocked off the wall, and it will bounce out to Shamway.
Sorry, talking over you there. On that, I want to point out that it's the awareness, too, of Cash defensively. He knows he has somebody behind him. He knows that his team is there and that they can pick up the ball if he does miss, so he doesn't have to watch the ball. That opens it up for him to be able to go and just make that play on that player that's looking for the pass, and that it really is one of the strengths of their defense.
Final 30 seconds as the shooting advantage definitely favors Notorious Legion. The Espanyol side that averages over 9 shots a game, they only have 4 up against the 9 that they faced. On the opposite side, Tox challenged by Matane again. That's all he's got to do is just keep the ball on the blue half of the field. And yet again, Notorious Legion just stuffs Espanyol back deep in their own defensive end. Samway will take over. Tox waiting behind him. He will not have a look at anything. The final seconds will burn off the clock, and Notorious Legion is out on the right foot. They have a shutout in game 1.
Great first round for Notorious Legion here. Again, opening it up, the first thing that I talked about is it's the pitch. They're shoving the ball Cash's direction, letting him have looks, makes the first goal of the game and kind of sets the pace for the match. Defensively, they're there, 9 stops. They're always there on defense, and it's really shows that play with Cash that I talked about for a minute there is really where that defense shows. The communication on that end and the trust in the other players that I got somebody behind me. I don't need to watch this first guy with the ball. I'm going to watch the secondary, even though he should be the first one going out to challenge the ball. He immediately switches over, and he knows that that's going to be a pass play and is able to pick that off. So defensively, Notorious Legion is putting up a wall right now.
Both these teams come in identical in scoring, both averaging 2.2 goals a game, give or take. And as you see, Notorious Legion, they stick to about that average. More importantly, though, they shut Espanyol out. It does not happen very often for this Espanyol team. Every 4 shots or so, they're going to put 1 into the net. They do not this time around with exactly that many. Now we look ahead to game 2 on Urban Central, as Espanyol tries to right the ship, try to tie up this series. Notorious Legion, boy, they have had one heck of a start to week number 5.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm going to say to the strength of RCD Espanyol is that when they take a loss on a match, they're one of the teams that does make changes immediately in the gameplay and how they're going into the next match. They do really good at adjusting, and they may be able to figure this one out here. I still think this match is going to go probably 3-1, 3-2. I'm hoping we get a game 5 on this one.
I would be shocked if we did not. This will be Matane throwing one, just more a token ball downfield that should have been collected and dealt with by Espanyol, but does result in more offense for Notorious Legion. And it results in a goal, as well as looked like it was Cash who was able to kind of jam things up along the back wall. And boy, Espanyol could not recover.
He gets 3 of them there. It's such an awkward touch from Cash as he comes off the wall, kind of scoops it underneath, just barely lifts it over those defenders, causes the third man to panic flip, opens up the net for Taz. Taz being more present here on the offensive side. He's already gotten 2 of the 3 total goals so far, and that's really what I wanted to see. Either more presence offensively or more presence defensively, and I think that Taz can open up on the offensive side because of how much defense Matane and Cash have.
3-0, the goal advantage for Notorious Legion. 3-0, their record in the European Invitational. There are few teams in Europe or in the world that are as hot as this group, as they will lob another one downfield. Cox will throw one over towards Shamway. Stake is already waiting downfield. Redirect just off the mark, and Matane will get credit for a free save. Now here's Cox. His shot right at Cash, and no juicy rebound at all. It does go well out towards midfield. It takes Espanyol a moment to try and get back on the attack. the timing is just not working out right now for RCD Espanyol, as they've now gone almost 7 minutes without a goal.
Yeah, they need to get something going here offensively and get some presence down here, get a little bit of pressure. They're not putting nearly enough shots on net, and that's what we were talking about at the start, is that they're a team that shoots and shoots heavy, and they tend to put a ton of shots on net. They're not putting any, I take that back. They've had some shots. They haven't had any good shots on net. No real pressure that's challenged this Notorious Legion defense yet.
Cox with a challenge. That counts as a shot, but it's not much of one. They have had 6 officially, and none of them have been particularly good. You had the shot from Shamway in game 1 that Cash ranged over to save. That almost finds its way through. Everything seems to be coming up Notorious Legion, at least right now for the first game and a half of this series. Here's Tox over the corner. He'll get full boost. Needs someone to pass to. Has Steak waiting. Shamway comes up. That's a great pass over to Steak. And again, well read by Mitane. Right place, right time. Notorious Legion stymie them again.
Yeah, that defense is just showing up. It doesn't look like they're under pressure ever. You just talked about it. They've got 7 shots right now versus 5, but it doesn't feel like RCD Espanyol really has had any traction yet. It feels all Notorious Legion. Another shot coming from them. Easy pickup, though, for Shamway as he knocks that one off, saves that one on the line.
Steak taken out and actually almost spawned in Tox's way. And now Shamway try and get one around the boards to Tox. He cannot. Rolled back out, and Mitane is right there waiting. They are waiting for Espanyol to make a mistake, and they are coming perilously close to doing so. Mitane gets another one towards center that Shamway will not get out of harm's way. Taz trying to slow play. Steak again taken out of the picture, and Tox, he ran out of real estate on that back wall as he ramped himself, but was able to make the save. Now to be Tox. Cannot get past Mitane. Could not keep possession. That's been the struggle right now for Espanyol. They have not had nearly enough possession. They have had shots on goal as far as the scoreboard goes. But the stat that actually matters, they don't have anything in the net. Cash. This will drop down. Shamway over to the corner again. And that's all Espanyol can do. Just dump the ball to their own corner. They're struggling to get out of the zone. Shamway can't catch up to this. Cash will bring another one back in. The Tox goes way up. We talk about how these teams play up in the air, and you saw it on display there. Another challenge made by the ceiling. Now Tox can bring downfield at 20.
Yeah, the total hits from Notorious Legion is, man, an open net. Taz gonna put that one away, really being that guy that's finishing off the goals today. I love seeing this. I wanted to see some more from Taz, and he has just been there when they need him to be, time and time again so far through these first 2 matches. That's 3 out of 4 goals so far coming at the hands of Taz.
Well, this has been a dominant performance so far. You know, only a couple of 2-goal wins, but just the way that Notorious Legion has dominated possession, they will again pick up a shutout in game 2, and the hits keep on coming for Notorious Legion. Now 1 game away from sweeping the previously undefeated, or currently still undefeated, Espanyol.
They're getting a ton more touches on the ball. Their mid presence is really kind of gumming and gunking everything up for this RCD Espanyol offense. They're not able to get that ball past midfield with a good look. If they do end up beating that midfield defender, the ball's coming out of a corner somewhere else, and they're having to make these awkward touches for the net. They're not getting any real power or presence or pressure, onto the net. And unless they can figure out how to get that going, this third match is going to look a whole lot the same as what we've seen in these first 2 matches. I definitely did not expect. I expected Notorious Legion to show up today. They are dominant. They are showing up and exceeding all my expectations.
9 shots in game 1 for Notorious Legion, 11 in round 2. And you look on the other side, Espanyol, they did get a few more looks towards the net, but not necessarily at the net. at spots where defenders have to work to reach them. That's been Espanyol's strength. Get, kind of a filthy rebound, something that is a little sloppy on the defensive end. They haven't gotten that. Notorious Legion has not made that mistake. Everything has been out to the corners, away from any rebound opportunities. Now we go to game 3 where it's a must-win. Something's got to change for Espanyol. You said that they have been able to adjust on the fly, but the clock is ticking. Tox, double tap, and finally Espanyol gets one.
That's the way to open up game number 3. That's the way to get the motivation in the team, get that energy up, get that hype going, get you guys talking. That's the moment you want going into a game 3 in a do or die situation. Tox with a big play in the opening 13 seconds of this match.
So often we have seen teams shut out for the first 2 games in a series, then come to life very early on in game 3. It goes as 10 minutes and 13 seconds that Espanyol is kept off the board before Tox breaks up the drought.
This is a complete guess on... Sorry, complete guess on my end. Ooh, Mitane with a nasty shot off the pass from Cash. He's going to put one in. Nice quick ball. 80 miles per hour. Of course, I'm reading that in mine. I'm not sure what the KPH is on, but it's high. It's a fastball.
It is. It is. It is a challenge fastball that nobody's going to catch up to. 4th assist in the series now for Cash. And he's looking to set up another one with a helper here. Looking to help Mitane. No, it's going to be blocked away. Now Tox back the other way. Quick counterattack. And it goes in off of Taz. He could not catch up to a fireball coming in.
Tox coming in big so far in the opening minute of this match. One of the things that we were talking about, though, is that stat of the team showing up in that third match. I would love to go back and look, but from the games that we've casted, the teams that do show up in that third match typically end up then going down in that game 4. See if they can keep this together long enough to take down game 3 and see if that statistic, which I believe is accurate, don't quote me on it, but we'll see if that ends up being the storyline here in if we get to game 5 or get to game 4.
This is the second time this season that RCD Espanyol has started a series down 0-2. The first, week number 1 to triple trouble. All the hype surrounding this new look offense of Bluey, Rix Ronde, and Tadpole. Is this going to be the team that's at the top of the league? No, it turns out it's Espanyol and triple trouble going the exact opposite direction. This goes to Shamway, and Taz makes the save.
I like the plays, though. They're starting to get some of these cheeky quick passes, move the ball around, make that defender's camera start doing some weird things, open some stuff up for yourselves. They're getting better touches, and their midfield presence so far in this match is up to snuff. They're finally getting these midfield reads, and Steak is going to take one home. 3-1, 3:03 left on the clock here in game number 3.
Yeah, this starts with a double commit at the net, and it didn't look that bad until you realize that Taz didn't have any boost to follow up the play. All he could do is get a weak touch. He won the race to the corner boost, but nobody was able to get back in time. They had all committed downfield, relying on Taz to do a lot with nothing to work with. And so it does lead to a goal, but again, Notorious Legion has a couple of games in hand. There is the other side of that, where you don't want to let a team get much life once you've got a chance to close them out. Cash with a drive. That's saved by Shamway. Losing out on a closeout opportunity here, Supersonic. We've seen it happen so many times. The pressure starts to shift a little bit once you give a team a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, once you give them a little bit of confidence, it becomes a problem. God, once again here, defense not there. So defensively, the rotation's starting to break down here for Notorious Legion, and they're not getting back quick enough. They're starting to get ahead of themselves on the offensive half. I think they're trying to force things to happen that don't need to. They need to get back in that rhythm that they had through games 1 and 2. If you let this RCD Espanyol team get the heat and get wind in their sails, they are going to make you pay for it. You talked about it before. They are a team that comes back from these situations where they're down 2 and they can counter sweep.
And we mentioned 4 out of their 5 matches, they've had to go the distance. All 5 games with the only exception being a 3-0 sweep that I'm sure Weedham girls would like to have another shot at. And maybe they will as the season plays out and we get closer to the promotion tournament. But that is still a long way away. A lot of business to take care of in this match, our third of the day in Europe in week 5. This is Shamway making a block, but Mitane is right there, and he just forgot to take the ball with him.
Just off the tip of his nose, wasn't able to get there. Defensively, they had to rush to get back there. Again, Cash made it in time, but Notorious Legion, they're getting ahead of themselves on that offensive half. They're really starting to commit heavy.
Cash will take over. There is still time for Notorious Legion to climb back into this game, but you have to imagine that second goal is going to come sooner rather than later. Taz, blocked by Shamway. More time off the clock. Less time to work with. Less space to work with, it seems, as well throughout this game. Shamway has picked his spot. Cash has reached it. But that's all Espanyol needs to prolong this series. Make sure they don't have much coming at their net. And they have not. Only 5 shots this time with only 40 seconds left.
I'm wondering what the comms sound like right now on the side of Notorious Legion. At this point, you know this match is over. You're probably not getting 3. You're definitely not getting 4. Stake sends another one home. What is the conversation going on over there to get ready for this 4th match? Clearly, the winds have shifted. They are in the favor of RCD Espanyol right now, and they're going to need to regroup and refocus at the start of this next match.
Doesn't seem like this game can end soon enough for Notorious Legion. You mentioned getting to the point where you're looking ahead towards game 4, probably even halfway through this game. They might have already been at that point where it's like, okay, we do have a couple games in hand. Cox will take a knee here and let this one roll out. Espanyol gets 1 on the board, and they did so in convincing fashion. Everything that Notorious Legion did to them for the first 10 minutes, Espanyol has given back in the last 5.
It puts a little worry for me on the Notorious Legion side, because it feels like somewhere in the middle of that match, they checked out and they started trying to go really attack heavy earlier than they needed to. It felt like they started worrying sooner than they needed to. It feels like they don't play well when they are behind. They're going to need to get some early goals going and keep that traction, because if they get into the situation again, I'm worried that we may see a bit of the same.
It is a valid concern, because with this Espanyol team, when they get going, they steamroll downhill really quick. They're the type of team, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They've been given at least a few yards to start things off here in game 3. Now to game 4, and this is the one where if Espanyol gets an early goal, like they did 13 seconds into this game, then Notorious Legion, they might start kind of looking around like, is this the same team we just dominated for the first 10 minutes? It's very clear it is not.
Yeah, the other side of that worries me when you start doing that early is I would have loved to see them for the 2.5 minutes change up their pacing, do some different things, figure out what's going on. If you've checked out and you feel like you're going to lose that match, at least use that time on the clock to figure out what you can do to break up the offensive pressure from RCD Espanyol that they had going, and it didn't feel like they were making use of it, and now they're going to have to try and figure it out here at the start of game 4.
Plenty of demos to go around throughout the series. That's been a trend for both these teams, both giving and receiving demos. So be Stake up against Cash, and he gets an accidental second touch. So that will send Tox all the way back to officially make a save on a ball that was rolling harmlessly to the goal. Now Tox against Cash trying to get the dunk. No, he can't catch up to it. So now Shamway. Well, that's well done by Cash. And Mitane actually got run into by Shamway, but not enough to stop him as Mitane barely makes the save. Back it goes all the way across. It is Cash now. Back wall, no. Stake makes sure it doesn't get there, and more importantly, does not get to the center until Tox is ready to clear. Quickly back the other way with Stake, and Taz is there to cut that off, and both teams continue to just throw light jabs in the first 90 seconds of a significant Game 4. Of course, another closeout opportunity for Notorious, and for Espanyol, chance to force Game 5, where they, as mentioned, are, well, 4-0 so far.
Little touch there from Cash, trying to create a play, but again, all three players were up, and the bumps are just coming time and time again. You were talking about the demos. RCD Espanyol getting really aggressive in that offensive half. They're getting a ton of demos and bumps. Well, I'll take back a ton, but they're getting them where they count. They're opening up opportunities. They just need to figure out how to close it out.
Stake has been pretty quiet for Espanyol. He came alive with a couple of goals in that last game. No assists just yet, as he was looking for a feed from Tox or to maybe clean up a rebound. Neither happened, and a chance for Taz, but he's thrown it way off to the corner. One that I'm sure he would like a mulligan on. Now it's going to be Shamway and Stake, both up. That could be costly for Espanyol. Tox got to scramble back, and he misses the corner boost as it respawns. Not a lot to work with, but just enough to challenge Taz.
RCD Espanyol does have the Notorious Legion at a point where they're starting to scramble. They don't look or feel comfortable on that defensive half. On that backboard play on the last attack, Matane and Taz both committing for that ball, almost colliding with each other, which could have been a big issue, with leaving Cash out in the midfield with an open net behind him. I think that's where they're struggling right now. That defensive half, they're just uncomfortable at the moment.
Great pass over to Shamway. Tox coming onto the weak side, got the dunk, and Espanyol's in front again.
Tox, that man right now for RCD Espanyol, coming through, getting all the goals, being that man to bring this team up, get that offense going immediately starting in that last match. I talked about that, putting the wind in your sail, getting the team up, getting them hyped, and when you're playing good and feeling good, this is what happens. The team looks like they are having a good time out there.
Fox now with his third goal of the series, add a couple assists to it. We talk about a different person stepping up all the time. This week, it is Tox when they need him most. Now Stake. Well, he's going to play that to himself. That's very patient, confident defending. And it's got to be frustrating for Notorious Legion as well, because, again, they played so well for the first two games of this series, and it's all been washed away in Shamway. A blistering shot, might have bent the crossbar at that point.
Yeah, that upper 90's got a little bit extra on it now. Tox, though, gonna find another one, a slow floater into the goal. Cash comes through, bumps Matane there, tries to get back on the ball, and Tox just gonna touch it. Matane falling off the wall there. That should have been, that ball should have been blocked.
Yeah, that's one of those goals when you score it, you realize, you know what, this really is my night. And it is working out for Tox now. It took him a while to come alive, but obviously much better late than never. 45 seconds remain. Taz with a shot, saved by Tox. He does it all right now for Espanyol. That's over some way. No, he recovers and makes the stop. Coming off the back wall with 35 to go. It is Tox to Stake to Shamway, looking for a double. No, it's wide, and it will be Tox, blocked by Cash. This is a fortuitous challenge, and Stake is all the way back for the challenge, making sure that they leave the back door manned and make sure that they don't give up any cheap goals at the end.
So through game 1 and 2, the number of touches per player was way out of whack. Matane was the guy that was touching that ball over and over and over again in that midfield. Currently right now for this match, Matane has the least number of touches on the ball, and he had very few. I believe he may have been the least number of touches in the previous match as well. So they did finally figure out, RCD Espanyol in that previous match, how to get around Matane in the midfield. And since then, that defensive rotation of Cash and Matane have been thrown off. There's been double commits from Taz and Matane on the back wall, and that defense just falls down. It really feels like the anchor of that defense is Matane's midfield presence.
Week 1, mentioned it earlier, Espanyol started their season down 0-2 to triple trouble. They came back with wins in games 3, 4, and 5. It's the only time they've been down 2 games in a series. They have battled back this time as well, looking for their second reverse sweep, trying to reach 6-0. And boy, you'd have to come up with a very convincing argument to convince me that they will not do so the way they have played these last couple of games, because again, it's been night and day between games 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, what Espanyol has looked like against Notorious Legion.
It's a completely different team out there. Like I said, as soon as they figured out how to win that mid game, they've been in possession. They've been controlling the pace and the tempo. When Notorious Legion is fighting from behind, they do not look the same. It feels like they fall apart. The second they're down 1 goal, that rotation just kind of gets out of whack. They play really well when they're ahead, but they're going to need to clean this up for the rest of the season if they want to continue. The league play's still got a few weeks left.
There is a lot of Rocket League to be played, and for the 5th time this season, RCD Espanyol will play a game on Champions Field, and yet again, it is Tox scoring 14 seconds in.
So Matane's there, but the midfield, the turn timing there, like from Matane, he's off in the midfield. He's not in that presence. Games 1 and 2, he would have been at that 50. He was at the midfield, and now he's starting to play from this kind of no man's zone that's right on the line between the your defensive third and that neutral third. He's kind of playing that line rather than getting out into that midfield.
In 5 minutes and some odd teen seconds, Tox has scored as many goals as Notorious Legion has scored in the series. It is incredible watching this man come alive here as Samway will make another stop as he turns at midfield. Now Samway looking to center. His shot is going to be saved by Taz. Follow-up is saved by Cash. Now Matane's turn to make a save. He cannot. And who other than Tox to add on?
Tox is just a force to be reckoned with right now, getting all the touches he needs, putting them right in the hard spots for the defense to get a touch on it, right on the top shelf there, touching that crossbar. The placement from him has been nothing but perfection.
He has averaged a goal per minute since the start of Game 3. Actually, that math does not add up. Well,
okay, I was about to say that
it is not that good. It is not that good. Ignore.
It's really good.
Ignore me when I start doing math. Caster math is very, very bad. Here is Steak. Over to Shamway. Back to Steak. Looking to center. He does. Looking for a defender. Could not find one. Yeah, anytime casters start doing math, just tune out at that point. Here is Cash. He'll give away to Shamway. Steak is right there, and he's just going to let that go for Tox. That's great communication, a great pass, and a better shot from Tox. This goes right down onto his hood. You can't get any better than Tox right now.
It's not just Tox, though. He is getting the ball fed to him. The great pass from Shamway there as he makes a selfless play, brings that one back around. He could have gone for the redirect there. The defender was ahead of him. He could have actually leaned that ball back and tried to take the shot himself, but he makes the selfless play, throws it out into the open for Tox to make an easy shot on net.
They keep beating him like this. It may be a goal per minute for Tox. Here is Shamway for Steak. He'll take a drive. Double on the way. RCD Espanyol has come alive.
RCD Espanyol, the kings of going to Game 5. They never make it easy on themselves. They take it to Game 5 time and time again, but man, do they shine when they get here.
They have owned Champions Field this season. They're about to go to 5-0 on this pitch and 6-0 on the season. Jamway looking to add another. This was going to fall to Tox eventually. Matane, his shot is actually going to be saved by Steak. You just assume it's going to be Tox every time because he seems to be everywhere the ball is. Now he's giving chase. Cash played that right to him, and Tox read him like a book Zamway played a defender like a fiddle. They should score. They will not, as Steak has his shot blocked away.
I would love to talk about Shamway and those touches. He has been making those over and over again. He continually fakes. It's almost like he's going for the fake every single time, and Notorious Legion just isn't catching on to that because he's so close to the net. They have to respect the fact that he could take the shot, and they're forced to jump for it. And he just keeps continually making these soft touches and possessing control of the ball.
Knox will half flip to get out of the play here. Shamway all the way back. Does not make the save, but he altered the shot enough. And a desperation jump in front. Steak is there to collect. And Notorious Legion denied a goal yet again. Now Steak over to Shamway, who is waiting for Matane. And he read him as well.
My silence should say everything. They're just playing so clean right now. Shamway's reads and touches at the moment. I know all the other Steak has had some the backboard shot. Tox has been hot. He's making these shots, but the play and control from Shamway has been a spectacle for these past two matches.
Shamway
He shoots him too.
Yet another. This one goes off the post. It falls right to Shamway, and you can tell Notorious Legion is a broken team right now.
So, current touches for the match. Shamway, 64 touches compared to a 73-ish, 74 touches total for Notorious Legion. Shamway is controlling the pace of this match. He's setting it up for everyone on his team.
I mean, this is as one-sided a decider that we've seen. This is incredible from Espanyol, coming back from 0-2 for the second time this season. And as mentioned, night and day between the start of this series and the end. And that's the old adage, right? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Espanyol has finished. Taz will get a shot off. It will find the net. But all that does is set us up for a Brazil if Espanyol can put another in.
It feels like if you don't shut them down in a 3-0. If you let RCD Espanyol make it to a game 3 with you, by that point, they have figured you out. And if they get to game 5, you might as well just forfeit the match because they are unstoppable in game 5s.
A rare ball going over to the corner instead of at the net from Espanyol gives a brief respite for Notorious Legion to get some irrelevant statistics, maybe. Instead, they're back on the defensive end. Matane and cashed out, just all hero ball. It's my turn offense as players play out the final 30 seconds as nothing more than a formality. Another ball headed that way. It is Steak who has numero 7.
And there it is. The Brazil has occurred. In the final 20 seconds, Steak gonna put that one in.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. There's nothing more to say. There's 20 seconds left in what has been a beating in Game 5, and you look at how this series shifted after Notorious Legion shut out the first 2 games, Espanyol outscoring them 4-0. Since then, the final 15 minutes, as that one doesn't find the net, it ends up to the tune of 14-2. Espanyol, a resounding comeback as they go to 6-0 on the season, unless they add one more, as this will eventually touch down whenever the players are willing to let us bring our ugly mugs back on and sing the praises of an undefeated Espanyol. What a performance.
The mental fortitude of RCD Espanyol has been tested time and time and time again, and every single time they have stepped up to the plate